How anyone feels, it's my right to express my frustration and spread awareness, having a big platform. I usually don't make videos like this, but these are for my athletes, specifically my track and field athletes, but athletes in general. I know that I'm not the only person who struggled having a decent relationship with my coach. I'm no longer on the track team here. I'm not going to tell y'all what school I'll go to. I'm not going to sit up there and say names until maybe a little while after down the line. I'll give y'all a bigger story time, later on. Not right now though. But I was taken off the roster, I want to say, during Thanksgiving time, and I've been training and working out and, just going to class like I usually have been doing. Since then, training, working on going to another school. Before I start this story time, I do want to say that I can take accountability for all things. I'm not going to sit up there and discredit myself from anything and make myself seem like an innocent puppy. What I'm not going to do is demonize myself and make myself seem like I'm the problem, because I was not, and I was not the common denominator, and I will not make myself feel like so. No. I'm not going to take this video down. Whoever sees it, don't ask me to. Don't even reach out to me, because I won't answer you. You'll just be blocked. Again, I'm not naming the school. I'm not naming names. I'm sharing my experience because I know so many athletes personally who have gone through the same thing as me and still going through it. I'm going to give y'all the story time kind of like in a short version, but I'm trying to wrap it up as fast as possible. So when I first came to this school, I didn't feel welcome. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Oh, we did this. We said this. I didn't feel welcome. There was no way I could express my true personality and my true self with the team or the coaches without someone getting offended, without someone taking my joke the wrong way, without someone being all serious. I could not express myself here. I'm from Texas. You know what I'm saying? I went to high school in Texas. Most of my staff was black. Most of my teammates were black, Hispanic, or Asian. Some white people. And, now I'm in Alabama, where most of my teammates are white. Most of my coaches are white, and there's a handful of black people. I'm not saying that's the main issue or main common denominator, but my true personality, true self was not welcomed here, because the time that I did express myself, my true self, I was given weird looks. I was talked about. I was made to seem just everything but a child of God. Now, when I first came to this school, I was struggling with my mental health. I'm not going to go into details, but what I came from before entering college, the coach that I'm talking about that I have an issue with, that I don't talk to anymore, but he knew about it. I was suicidal, and I had a suicide attempt on campus, and he also knew about it. And so school started going well and everything like that, but my grades were slipping. Now, I wasn't failing, but there were a few assignments here, a few assignments there, not a bunch of stuff, but it was like two assignments that was here missing, that was there missing, that I needed to get caught up on, and it was causing my grades to deflect, which I was seeing therapy and everything like that, and I was getting that worked on. There's also actually 1 or 2 times where I missed study hall, because you're an athlete, study hall hours by like an hour or 30 minutes. That only happened 2 or 3 times. The first 2 times, it was a mistake, and I made sure to get that cleared up because I did serve all my 6 hours. But here's where the big problem comes in. One day I was at practice and I was talking to one of my teammates. She's black as well. And me and her were having a conversation. I wasn't having a good day that day because I had dropped my team shirt in the toilet. We were all supposed to wear the exact same, workout clothes. And so instead, I think I wore a white shirt, which I got the okay from my coach. And I was telling her, yeah, today wasn't a good day. I dropped my shirt in the toilet. This is then the third. And I was basically walking her through what happened. One of my other teammates, who is white, was ear hustling in my conversation, didn't even know what I was talking about, and she decided to do A skips beside me and goes, well, if you just listen to what he says and follow his rules, you wouldn't have a problem. And at first, my first thought is, what are you talking about? When did I ever say I don't want to follow rules? When did I ever say I didn't want to wear the team shirt? What are you talking about? I just simply explained that I dropped my shirt in the toilet. Because of that, I was having a bad day because it messed up, my routine. It messed up what I was supposed to be doing. What are you talking about? Now, I wasn't going to go back and forth with her, and I wasn't going to explain to her what I was talking about because it wasn't her conversation to butt in. I don't care what the excuses were. It wasn't her conversation to butt into. It wasn't. I let her know that, and I asked her 3 times to leave me alone and mind her business because nobody was talking to her. It would have been different if she would have been like, hey, you having a bad day, you didn't wear your shirt. Okay, no, but she came in all with an attitude and was like, well, if you listen to coach did that, and I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. What are you talking about right now? 3 times I asked her to leave me alone and mind my business. When someone asks you to leave them alone, that's them setting a boundary. When someone says, leave me alone, stop talking to me, that is them setting a boundary. That don't mean you keep talking and you keep talking and you keep doing what you're doing. No, when someone says, leave me alone, you leave them alone. Each time I asked her to leave me alone, she kept talking. Well, I'm just saying you have to follow the rules. Everyone has, and I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, when did I say I didn't have to follow the rules? I'm in a different shirt than y'all because I dropped it in a toilet and I already let my coach know, why are you, what are you antagonizing me for? And on that 4th time, I raised my voice at her and I said, leave me alone. And then the team looked and didn't know what was happening. After that entire situation, right, my coach heard it. My coach heard me yell, leave me alone. Now, any normal coach or any of my coaches back home, if they would have witnessed that or saw that, they would have quickly pulled me and whoever I was talking to the side. Hey, what's going on? What happened? Okay, get it fixed, get it settled within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, let that be done. He looks up, he sees it. And then he just goes right back on his phone. One thing I can say about him is he does not like confrontation. There's a lot of people on the team that's been here before me that says that he does not know how to handle confrontation. He does not know how to solve confrontation. That's not one of his strongest abilities. Me, I'm outspoken. I know how to speak up for myself. I will speak up for myself. I don't care what situation I'm in. I will say something. Like, that's just how I am. After that situation, a few of my teammates yelled at me. A few of my teammates said something about me in which I don't understand why I was being made to seem like I was a problem when I asked someone to leave me alone 3 times and they did it because they were going based off of assumption. I just felt targeted and I did not like that and I felt unheard. I then found out that my coach reached out to not me, the girl that I was talking to, that I was having a conversation with. He never reached out to her and say, hey, what happened? Because it was only me, her, and the girl behind me that was involved. He reaches out to 2 other people on my team that had nothing to do with the situation, asking them their opinion, getting them involved, talking to everybody else but the girl that I was talking to. She's also black. Just kind of like, red flag. Now, y'all know me. Y'all know the type of content that I post. So the next day when I got home from practice, I made a video. In my video, I did not say names. I didn't name names. I didn't even name a school. My video wasn't even about the situation that I really just told y'all about. My video was mostly, the main topic was how I felt as a black woman. You cannot defend yourself or set boundaries, you know what I'm saying, when you're in a white space without being looked at as the villain. That's what the video that I made was mainly about. This whole thing that I just told y'all, I gave a slight example of it, and the rest of the video was basically talking about how I felt in that moment as a black woman, how I felt demonized, how I felt like I was a villain, even though I asked her to leave me alone 3 times. Other black women got in my comments and DMs to support me. Now, again, nobody knew names, nobody knew school, nothing. I still have the video saved on my end. But I have every right to do that. I have every right to exercise. I have every right to talk about that. Even when I shared my side, I was still being demonized. I was still being the villain. I ended up having a meeting with my coach and I got a suspension from the team for I think a good like 4 or 5 weeks. I was still required to work out, do my study hall, stuff like that. I just was not allowed to work out with the team, which was unfair. I talked to my uncle about it, who was a Big 12 football coach, who has experience in coaching. Told him the whole situation. I took accountability on my end and told him the things maybe what I probably did wrong. I probably shouldn't raise my voice. He was like, yeah, that's still kind of like bull. And then my coach also tried to say, well, it's also because, like, your grades, like, like this class here and this class there is kind of slipping step. We want you to be able to focus on your grades. And I'm like, okay, but, I'm dealing a lot with my mental health and I'm working on that. It's not going to stay like that forever. I don't just sit up there and fail and just fail for, weeks and weeks. It'll still be like that for like a day or 2. So I got my suspension. I took it like a champ. I worked out my entire suspension. I got right with God. I was getting closer to him. I built a relationship with him. Everything was dandy. Like, I was doing good. My mental health was improving. It was fine, especially being away from the team. I was doing great. I was doing fine. Now, during my entire suspension, not the head coach or the assistant coach never once called on me, checked up on me, texted me, hey, how are you doing? Hey, how's your workouts going? Hey, how's your grades? Acted like I didn't exist. Not one time did he reach out. Because, he's the coach and he's a grown man, so you'd expect for him to do that. But not one time. No. Walked past me, wouldn't say hello, nothing. Thanksgiving break rolls around, and for a lot of athletes, we get paid during Thanksgiving break so we can eat during Thanksgiving break and do whatever. All of my teammates got food vouchers and money except for me, right? And so I found that weird. So when I texted him finally, after not talking to him for like a good month, then I was like, hey, do you know when I get my food voucher? He goes, oh, well, because you're suspended, you don't get one. I looked up the NCAA regulations, and I even looked up on my athletic page of my school regulations, and nowhere and anywhere, any of that, does it say that that's an actual rule. So I called my uncle and my mom, because when I first initially told my coach, hey, I don't have any money, he said, oh, well, you can't get any money because you're suspended. He didn't automatically offer a solution like, okay, well, I can't give you any money because it's a rule about suspension, even though it wasn't, but I can do this for you. No, he just said, oh, you can't get it because you're suspended. It took my mom and my uncle to call him, and I don't know what the conversation was about. Well, they told me, but I'm not going to tell it on here. It took my mom and my uncle to call my ex-coach and to tell him God knows what, just for him to be like, okay, well, I can get her this money. If you could have got me that, if there was a possibility you could have given me this amount of money to begin with, why did it have to take my mom and my uncle calling you? Why couldn't you just say, oh, Shay, I can't give this money to you because you're suspended, but here's what I can do, here's the money? Why did it have to take 2 people calling you in order to do that? See what I'm saying? Like reindeer games, playing games, stuff I don't like. I'm probably gonna have to make a part 2. I hope y'all hanging in with me. I really hope y'all are. But even with that whole situation during Thanksgiving break, I didn't talk to him. I texted him those few text messages. Hey, do I get the money for the food voucher? Oh, no, you should spend it. Oh, okay, bet. Call my uncle, call my mom, let them handle it. And I got the money. I ain't speak to him no more after that. There was no issues. There was no problems. I ain't speak to him no more after that. After Thanksgiving break, which was the time that my suspension was supposed to be over, he called me in for a meeting with him and the head coach. So I'm thinking we're just going to talk about how things are going to be moving forward, me going back with the team. No. And I have the whole conversation video recorded, y'all. Anyways, I thought we were going to be talking about, moving forward, me being back with the team. No. And again, I had this whole conversation recorded. It's on my iPhone. It was like maybe a good 15, 20-minute conversation. Now, I sat down, mind y'all, throughout my entire suspension, throughout me, my entire Thanksgiving break, even though both coaches knew that I was suicidal when I came here. I was dealing with mental health. Y'all, I just have a testimony. I don't even want to say too much. Them knowing who I am, where I came from, you know what I'm saying? Them knowing all that. They never reached out to me during my suspension. They reached out to me during Thanksgiving break. Now, before I continue with the story, I just want to say, when I first came here, I stayed to myself. So much so that even some of my teammates complained about it and would say things like, Shay, why do you isolate yourself? Why do you kind of hang out over here by yourself away from the team? One day my coach had got in contact with my uncle, because my uncle was a Big 12 coach for 8 years at the University of Texas for football. So he has a lot of experience. And so he always in the loop of my athletic stuff. He was telling my uncle, Shay's always by herself. She's to herself. I want y'all to keep that in mind. I'm always to myself, and I'm by myself. I don't do nothing to nobody. I don't bother nobody. I stay to myself, and I mind my business. I don't like issues, but Now, I go into this office, and he doesn't say, hey, Shay, how are you doing? How was your Thanksgiving break? How are you? Nothing. He automatically comes in. This is the assistant coach, the one that I have this issue with. He comes in, and he automatically starts antagonizing me. He goes, Shay, we need to talk about the issues that we had over Thanksgiving break. Now, mind y'all, if y'all don't know, just go look at my last video. Mind y'all, I'm confused because I'm like, what issues do we have over Thanksgiving break? You told me that I couldn't get money, my food voucher, because it was a rule, because I was suspended, so I wasn't allowed to get it. But I did research on that, and there was nowhere that I read that says an athlete who's suspended, who's on a certain time suspension, are not allowed to get a food voucher, especially if they're staying in that state and not going home for the break. I called my mom and my uncle, to deal with that situation. They called you. It took 2 people to call you, and then you finally out of nowhere came up with the money to give me. It's like you could have did that the whole time, but I didn't speak to you. Only thing I ever texted you or talked to you about was, hey, do I get the money? You said, oh no, you can't since you're suspended. And after that, I didn't talk to you. I didn't say anything else to you. I haven't talked to you in a month and a half. So what issue do we have? This man couldn't come up with nothing. He just wanted the issue to be upset. He just wanted a reason to be mad at me. So when I asked him, what issue do we have over Thanksgiving break? Y'all, this is recorded. His voice is on the video. He goes, well, because it just seemed like you had an attitude over text message and everything like that. And I said, I was in so much disbelief, and I couldn't help but to get frustrated. I couldn't help but to get furious. And my uncle was telling me, Shay, just be quiet, because me and my uncle had a conversation before I sat down with the coach. And he was telling me, Shay, just be quiet and listen, because he knows how I can get when I get frustrated. And I start getting flustered, because when I get frustrated, I just feel a need to over explain myself. So automatically, I'm like, you call me in here to talk about an issue that we had over Thanksgiving break because you felt like I had an attitude over text, and me and you barely had 5 text messages between each other about you giving me food. You had more of a you talked to my mom more than I talked to you. You had a conversation with my mom and uncle. I haven't talked to you since then. What issue do we have? The head coach was there, but he doesn't, he's long distance, so I don't really see him a lot. But my head coach was telling me, well, I don't know, I wasn't there, I don't know what happened between him and you. And I'm like, nothing happened. I simply asked him if I was going to get the money like everyone else. He said no, because it's a suspension. I looked it up, didn't see that rule anywhere. So I got my uncle, my mom to call him, and then out of nowhere, he came up with the money. And it's like, okay, it shouldn't have took my mom and my uncle to call you. I should have been able to say, hey, do I get the money? Well, no, you can't, because you're suspended, but here's what I can do for you, and then let it be that. Because when I talked to him, he made it seem like there was nothing that he could do. But when my mom and my uncle called him, oh yeah, he found that money. So I'm just upset. And I tell him, I'm like, and the way I'm talking to y'all now is the way I'm talking to him. I said, you walked in this room, didn't ask me how I was doing. You haven't talked to me in a month and a half. You didn't ask me how my Thanksgiving was. You didn't ask me if I was still working out over the suspension, in which I was still working out, still training by myself, which is what I prefer. I said, you didn't ask me how I was doing. You didn't ask me anything about my mental health, knowing that I struggle with my mental health. You didn't ask nothing about me. You came in here, sat down in that chair, and automatically started to antagonize me and pick the smallest, tiniest thing you could to demonize me and make it seem like you had an issue with me. Now, as I'm having this conversation with him, the same way I'm talking to y'all, the same way I'm talking to him, and I'm on the verge of tears because I have tears in my eyes because I feel like I'm being antagonized. So the way that I'm talking to y'all right now is the way I was talking to him. And he goes, look how you're acting right now. You're being hostile. Y'all, the black woman fury almost rose out of me. And I almost said to him, do you want to see what a hostile black woman looks like? Like, do you really want to see what a hostile black woman? Because I'm like, hostile. I was sitting up there like, this is some bull. After that entire meeting, I called my uncle and I was telling my uncle about everything. And he was like, Shay, I'm telling y'all what my uncle said. I'm telling y'all what the adults around me tell me. He said, Shay, your coach, I'm not trying to talk about this. Is what my uncle said. These are his words. He goes, Shay, I'm not trying to talk about your coach, but he's kind of a coward. This is what my uncle was telling me. I didn't say this. Just trying to give y'all a full glance. He goes, Shay, the reason why he's upset, he's trying to pick the smallest little thing he can to make an issue out of. Because after that meeting, I was taken off the roster. After that meeting, I was like, shoot, I'll enter the portal. I'll keep training and working out. I'll enter the portal. It's whatever. You know what I'm saying? My uncle was like, the only reason why he's upset is because you got 2 people to call him and check him about himself. And after those 2 people called him and got on to him, he finally sent the money and he didn't like that. My uncle told me, he said, Shay, I guaranteed if you would have just laid down and rolled over after he said, oh no, I can't give you the money because your suspension. He was like, there wouldn't be this big of an issue. He's like, it seems like they're just trying to find any little reason to take you off the roster. My uncle told me that before the meeting and he told me that after the meeting, and he was right. Because again, y'all, there was no altercation that me and this assistant coach had. It was a simple, hey, do I get the same money as everybody else? No, you don't, because you're suspended. Okay, I went to do some research on my own, didn't find anything about that being an actual rule. So contacted my mom, contacted my uncle. They said, okay, we'll give him a call. Next thing you know, there's money in my account. That was it. I didn't talk to him. I didn't call him. There was nothing being said. Like literally there was no issue. Then he comes into the room and he goes, we need to talk about the issue that happens over Thanksgiving break. He then starts to try to bring up the things that happened the first semester of the season, which I told y'all about in part 1. There's also some more that happened first semester, but that was between me and my friend, me and my roommate. We both took accountability for the things that happened between me and her. We forgave each other. We talked about it, and we're still friends to this day. That was between us, but those wasn't really like big denominators. He then starts to try to bring up the things that happened first semester, and I'm like, okay, you gave me suspension for what happened first semester, even though it was kind of BS why I got the suspension. You gave me suspension. Okay, that was done and over with. Why are you trying to bring up what happened first semester into the situation right here? You walked in here and said, let's talk about the issues that we had over Thanksgiving break. That's what we need to focus on. What happened first semester don't matter. Then is when he got to calling me hostile. You know how that narrative is. I was like, okay, I'm off the roster. Since then, I've done what I've been doing: training, working out, running, lifting, staying to myself. I don't even talk to my team anymore. I talk to a few people, but I stay to myself. I don't like issues. Today, one of my past teammates comes up to me, and my teammate is letting me know that he'll talk about me. Like, y'all, this man got such a hateful heart. My teammate was telling me, she was like, yeah, like he always kind of like throwing jabs at you during practice and saying this slick out the mouth. And, several of my other teammates are there and they're kind of nodding. They're like, yeah. And she was like, he was like, so when is Shay leaving? Like, when is she leaving? Why is she still here? So I heard what she was, and it's like, first of all, why is it your business? Why you need to know when I'm leaving, when I'm transferring, where I'm going? Attend to your business. Worry about the team that you're supposed to be coaching. Don't worry about me because I'm not on the roster anymore. Worry about your team. Don't worry about me. It's none of your business where I'm going. It's none of your business when I'm leaving. Leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you still talking about me? I don't talk to you. You don't talk to me. Why are you still talking about me? And the way that they were describing it, it was almost as if he was trying to talk about me in a way for them to be against me too. Like, oh yeah, remember first semester with Shay? Yeah, this is then the third. Well, I just don't know. Like, what is she doing? Like, what is she doing? When does she leave? Like, where is she going? I heard she was going to be leaving in March. This is that third. I don't care what you heard. I haven't told anybody when I'm leaving, and I'm not going to. Monitoring spirits, people trying to monitor me and watch me. Oh no. It's like, why are you still worried about me? Leave me alone. Keep my name out of your mouth. Don't talk about me to anyone. This is the same issue we had first semester. Whenever there was an issue, or not even an issue, if there was anything you ever wanted to know about me, instead of you contacting me yourself, you would contact several people on the team. They would contact me and then go back and tell you different stuff, and that would cause issues. This man is 30-some years old. And I know my little sister is more mature than him. She has more emotional maturity than him, y'all. Alone, he's very sensitive. He can't really take a joke for real. And after that conversation that I had, it just frustrated me. And I just said to myself, I want to be left alone. I'm going to be left alone. I'm either going to file a complaint or I'm going to spread awareness. And I decided to make this video to spread awareness to other athletes who may be going through the same thing. Because I want to be left alone. Like, I'm tired of it. Stop. Like, I was like, in my head, I'm like, bro, stop mentioning my name. Stop talking about me. Stop talking about me to my teammates. You're a grown man. You're the same age as my uncle. You're gossiping about me and talking about me like a teenage girl. I don't like I haven't done anything to you personally. Leave me alone. I stay to myself. You know what I've been through and what I struggle with mentally. And here you are still sitting over here antagonizing me and talking about me. Why? Why are you worried about me? Worry about your team. Worry about why half of the team is injured and hurt. Only a handful is going to conference. Worry about that. I so badly cannot wait to get out of Alabama. Seriously. I know a lot of athletes personally who go through things with their coaches, who have to deal with BS coaches, who have to deal with BS teammates, who have to go with so much strife and them feeling like everyone's against them. They want to transfer, they want to leave. I know there's so many of us that go through that, and I want to be that voice for y'all today because I know so many athletes who have to go through that. Again, going back to part one with the situation that happened between me and the girl and her butting into my conversation, me asking her to leave me alone 3 times. I found out that she was crying after she saw the video. Like, she called some of my other teammates crying after she saw the video, playing victim, making it seem like I was just this big bad wolf. Y'all, yeah. I also want to go into depth about what I was talking about in part 2 or part 1 when I said I feel like I couldn't really be myself when I came to this school. How my coach was very sensitive, and then don't really have like a lot of emotional intelligence. When I first got here, I was told by several people on the team who already been here before me that he's very sensitive and he can't take a joke. You know what I mean? Just straight up like that. And that he's very awkward. And I was like, okay, well, I can deal with that. Like, that ain't nothing big. Now, mind y'all, I'm in Alabama, but I'm from Texas. I grew up in West Texas. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of family in Houston, so I spend a lot of my summers in Houston. Most of my coaches, when I went to school, were black. Now, I'm not saying I didn't go to white schools. Like when I was in elementary school, stuff like that, middle school, I went to white schools. I can handle being in a white environment, but I have to navigate smartly. But most of my coaches were black in high school. Most of my teammates were Hispanic, black, or Asian. I'm used to a variety. I'm used to a mix. You know what I mean? And I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but if you're an athlete from Texas, not every school is like this. But like the atmosphere and the environment is serious. Like it's like very like disciplined. Like my school is very disciplined, structured. But we know how to have a good. But sorry, y'all, but we knew how to have a good time. Like we could joke with our coaches. We could make jokes with our coaches. Our coach will make jokes with us. Young boy will be playing in the background while we're lifting weights and everything like that. Lil Durk will be playing in the background while we're lifting weights, like all types of music. And then when I came down here to Alabama, we worked out to country music. Like we worked out to like Zach Bryan and everything like that. And I was like, oh, okay, And then if someone played a rap song or a pop song and they had a curse word in it, it'll be changed immediately. And this is not a Christian school, y'all, but it will be made to seem like, oh my God, like get this hood filth off the track, off the weight room. Again, I'm not saying anything wrong with that. I'm not judging. I'm like, wow, this is different because, back home, we listen to a whole variety of music, especially like trap music, rap music, and nobody, even the Muslim people that worked out with us, that was on our track team, like it was not an issue because everybody was locked in, everybody was focused. It was like that music was kind of pumping us. But like I said, everything here is a lot more sensitive. Everything here is a lot more delicate. You know what I mean? Like it's very delicate. And I wasn't used to that. I didn't say it was an issue, just something I wasn't used to. Now, one thing I could not do while being here was express my true personality. Y'all, people who know me know Shay. Like, I'm the person people got to tell, Shay, don't start. Shay, I can't take you in public. Shay, but in a funny way. You know what I'm saying? I have such an outgoing personality. I'm not afraid to brag about myself. You know what I mean? I have an outgoing personality. But while I was here, I cannot show my true self and my true personality because the minute that my true self and true personality came out, even the slightest, I was kind of looked at funny. I would make a joke, no one would laugh, or like, oh my God, that's so vulgar, or oh my gosh, like I wasn't mad at them for it. I wasn't mad at nobody for it, but it was just like, oh, okay, oh, I don't know. I just generally could not be myself. Now with certain individual teammates on the side, like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of them, yeah, they kind of saw the real shade, not all the way, they kind of saw the real shade for real. I couldn't do that in front of my team. Like, I can't do that because of the reaction. You know what I mean? Not only that, but I was made to seem difficult whenever I asked questions. And it was talked about at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, the freshmen were told that we had to wear matching workout uniforms. We weren't told this by the coaches. We were told this by some of our other teammates. This is before we even got our gear. This is before we even got our matching teamwork stuff to begin with. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to wait till we get our gear. Then we're going to start matching in our little t-shirts, jogging t-shirts, and sports bras. I remember asking the group chat, hey, before we got our equipment, is it required that we all have to wear the matching colors and whatnot? Because I didn't own a lot of red and, white and black. I didn't own a lot of those colors. I just wanted to know, okay, do we start matching now? Or are they letting us know, hey, when you get your gear, we're gonna need to match our same shirts together. I'm neurodivergent, you know what I'm saying? I have ADHD and I'm slightly autistic. So when I ask someone, people in authority think that when you're questioning them why they want you to do certain things, they think you're trying to be difficult or question their authority. No, I need to know why you want me to do this, because if you tell me, I can do it more effectively. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person to where if you ask me a question, I'm gonna explain it to you, but the explanation is gonna take 5 to 6 minutes because I want to make sure I break it down to you to the point where you understand completely, because I'm neurodivergent and I have ADHD, and that's just how I operate operate. That's how I think. I can't sit up there and change my mind and change the way I see the world and how I think and how I view things, all because it annoys you. Instead of someone simply answering my question and saying, yes, Shay, it's a requirement. We're going to start. We got to start today. We do. It is something that we have to do, even if we don't have our gear yet. We're saying, no, it's not a requirement, but we do suggest we start matching now before we get our gear, just so we can get in alignment. Instead of that being said, I get told, just don't mess around and find out. And I'm just like, what was the point of that? Like, what did you gain from that? Like, I don't understand. There was another time when we were practicing on the soccer field, because I forgot what was happening on the track. Working out on the soccer field, like this grassy area, and I came to practice late because I had to walk to practice. I was late literally by 4 minutes, but that's still, it's my responsibility to make sure I show up on practice on time. I show up to practice and I start doing my warm out, but I kind of distance myself from everyone because they're on a different, A skip, B skip, but I have to start on swinging my arms. So I'm starting from the beginning. They're already almost done. So I stand in my own little lane and start doing it, trying to catch up with them, trying to get it before the workout starts, right? I'm fine. I'm not in no one's way. Nothing's happening. One of the soccer coaches who's on the side of me, he's not on the side of me. He's like a good 25 steps away from me from the field. I'm doing my warm up and somebody on the team goes, Shay, move over here. And so, I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD. I ask, why? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing my workout. I'm doing my warm up right here. Why do I need to move? And she looks, he goes, you're going to be in his way. And the guy looks at football, the soccer coach, whoever that was, looks, he goes, no, you're fine. You're not in my way at all. Keep going. So I'm like, okay. So I keep going and I'm still being told to move. And I'm like, why? And then one of my teammates goes, Shay, just do it for the respect of the team. And I'm like, so is this a power trip thing or what? Now, again, it's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? I moved. But it's when I asked why, it was being made to seem like, oh, Shay's questioning the authority. Shay's being difficult. I'm not questioning your authority. I'm not being difficult. I'm asking why, because I'm not in nobody's way. He said I'm not in his way. I'm minding my business, doing my warm up, trying to catch up. And even after he said, you're not in my way, keep going, you're fine. It's just Shay, but you still need to, and it's okay. People gossiped about me. People talked about me. People still talk about me, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm just ready to get out of Alabama. I'm just ready to get out of Alabama. And based off of everything that I talked about in part 1 and part 2, especially with, me finding out today that he's still talking about me, throwing petty side comments, during practice, talking about when does Shay leave? Why is she still here? When is she? Don't worry about me. Don't worry about when I'm leaving. Don't worry about why I'm still here. Don't worry about me. It's none of your business, none of your concern anymore. It's not your business when I want to transfer, where I want to transfer to, who I'm going to, where I'm going, when I'm leaving. It's none of your business. And it's not your concern. It's nothing you to worry about. And it was just, y'all, it just made me realize some people are just so hateful. Some people really can't put their pride aside. People really can't put their ego aside. No matter how old you are, you can be 30, 40 years old and people will still act the same. My teammate had came up to me, today, one of my teammates, a few of them was just he'll be like, when is Shay leaving? Why is she still here? Oh yeah, thank God Shay's leaving. Remember what happened first semester, this is then the third. Just making it seem like I'm this villain and just gossiping about me and talking about me. And my teammates said that he wouldn't even say my name. He would just go, when is she leaving? He couldn't even say my name. Oh, when is she leaving? When is she leaving? He didn't want to say my name. And it's how hateful can you be? How hateful of a person can you be? I didn't do anything to you. And so I'm just and I'm telling my teammate, and I'm look, if he asks again, just tell him it's not his business. And you can tell him that I said that, because it's not. I don't care who sees the video. It's not your business. Not your business when I leave. It's not your business when I want to leave. It's not your business where I want to go. It shouldn't be your concern. So the fact that I'm still on your mind and the fact that you're still thinking about me that much, that you would go to a few of my teammates, a few of my friends and talk about me. When is Shay leaving? Why is she still here? Well, I heard this. I heard that. Why are you hearing about me? Why is my name still in the loop? I'm off the roster. I'm going somewhere. I'm leaving. You don't got to worry about me no more. Just stop talking about me. You can't say, oh, I'm not worried about her. I'm not concerned about her. But then sit there and talk about her. I haven't talked about anybody on that team. I haven't talked crap about anybody. I haven't done anything to anybody since I've been gone. But stay working out, keep training, eating right, going to my classes, keeping my grades. I'm doing what I need to do to be a successful athlete and a student first. That's all I've done. This whole situation, this whole everything that transpired this year is just frustrating to me. Again, this is gonna be final part 3. But I'm doing this to advocate for athletes. You know what I'm saying? I have so many friends who are in track and field and other sports as well who go through the same thing, who have one-sided beefs with their coaches. Their coach has one-sided beef with them, who has issues with their teammates, antagonizing them. Not saying all my teammates antagonize me. I'm not making my team off to be bad people because I didn't have an issue with every single one of my teammates. But it's just I know so many athletes who feel like they can't speak up for themselves because they're going to get in trouble or get kicked off. But you have a voice and you don't have to advocate the way I'm advocating for myself, but you have a voice and learn to use it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's hard to be an athlete. It's hard to be a student. It's hard to keep your relationship with God or whoever you believe in. It's hard to do all this at once. And then to go to somewhere where you feel like you can't be at home and you can't be yourself. You feel like everyone is and all things are stacked up against you. That's tough. I'm doing this and I'm advocating for athletes all around who feel like they can't do it for themselves. Again, I'm not trash talking nobody. I'm not down talking nobody. I'm talking about my experience because of how I feel. I still love them. appreciate everyone's comments and personal DMs, supporting me and sharing their own, personal stories of, how their freshman year of college was and whatever sport they played. Something that I also want to mention as well, because some people were DMing me, things about what they would have done, how angry they would have been. And as a follower of Christ, like I talk about on my TikTok page, not so much, but y'all know, I made a video a while ago about learning how to stay humble in the midst of humiliation. You know what I'm saying? If I was to get mad and confront him and do the most and, mention the school, mention names, talk about just completely go off, which I have every right to be upset, I do. But they'll completely contradict everything that I talked about in that TikTok that I made about being humble in the midst of humiliation, learning to be humble and allow God to take your vengeance. That's one of the reasons why a lot of y'all are saying, oh, I would have did this, I would have did that. That's one of the reasons why it wasn't a big thing for me. That's one of the reasons why I'm really the reaction that I'm giving isn't really as big as most people would like it to be. I'm not as angry as most people would expect me to be, because I would contradict everything that my morals that I set for myself. I told myself and I told my followers who also believe in Christ that we must stay humble in the midst of humiliation, because Jesus was talked about, Jesus was spat on, Jesus was killed, people did everything they could to Jesus. They called Jesus everything but a man of God, but yet he still loved them, he still forgave them, he still blessed them, and he still sacrificed for them. So I know that anything that I go through, anybody that stabs me in the back, talks about me behind my back, does whatever, I know that I have the ability to forgive them. I know that I have the ability to stay humble. I know how I have the ability to withhold my rage from them, because nothing that I go through will compare to what Jesus went through. I know that if he can endure all that and still love the same people who did that to him and forgive them and bless them and sacrifice for them, I know I can too. I appreciate everyone concerning and oh, you should did this, you should did that. I appreciate all that. But again, if I was to do that, that would do nothing but contradict what I said and what I talk about and how I carry myself as a woman of God.